Are you someone who's either clinically or self-diagnosed with ADHD, and you constantly feel like you're battling self-doubt, emotional stress, and an overwhelming sense of pressure, while everyone else seems to have it all figured out? You know deep down you have so much potential, but no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to break free from all the cycles of stress, burnout, and the constant distraction. Maybe you've even tried medication, only to find that it barely masks the symptoms just for a few hours before the symptoms come rushing back 10 times worse. Maybe you spent years changing from one method to the next trying to figure out how to fix your ADHD symptoms, desperately trying to find something that actually works to make you feel a little bit more connected within yourself. But instead, you find yourself stuck in the same loop over and over again. I get it, I've been there too. If you're just meeting here for the first time, hi, I'm George. Let me give you a quick background about my story. 2 years ago, I was stuck in a dead-end job. I was 29 years old, and I felt like the only thing that was progressing in my life was my age. I had big dreams in my 20s and desperately wanted to retire by the time I hit 30. I wanted to be a millionaire, travel the world, but none of it happened. Instead, I was miserable. I felt numb, disconnected from my family, and lost in an endless cycle of just chasing dopamine highs just to feel something within me. Anything to fill that empty void, to make me feel more connected within myself, as the best way to describe it is I felt unplugged from myself. I tried every career under the sun, from trading to acting to vlogging, you name it, I've tried it, hoping that something would finally bring me the happiness and success that I truly craved within me. But each time something never worked instantly. I'd just drop it and move on to the next thing, convinced that I was always destined to fail. I spiraled into depression, scrolling mindlessly for hours on social media, binge eating, gaining so much weight, and sabotaging every opportunity that came my way. And as a result of this, my health deteriorated. And right after my son was born, I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure. And that's when I really hit rock bottom. I felt lost, hopeless, and I was just drowning in self-doubt. And I really believed that I was going to be stuck this way forever. And that's when I started researching ADHD. I realized that every single struggle that I faced, the mood swings, the restlessness, the fear, the anxiety, the depression, the constant impulsivity, was directly linked to ADHD. And when I understood this, I went to my GP and I got put on a 4-year waiting list just to get assessed. But there was no way that I could wait that long. I was desperate for answers. So instead, I decided to go down the private road, and I paid £2,000 and I got privately assessed, and then I was prescribed medication that I was told to take for the rest of my life. And instead of the medication fixing all of my problems, it made them 100 times worse. All the medication did was mask my symptoms for a few short hours, then sent me crashing down harder than ever. And on top of that, I started getting constant heart pain, heavy palpitations, my appetite to eat disappeared, and I felt more disconnected with myself than ever. And I realized that I had two choices at this point. Either I spend the rest of my life on this medication, knowing that it's not going to solve the root of my problem, or I find another way. So I dedicated myself to mastering my mind. I studied psychology, neuroscience, and every single ADHD strategy that you could think of. I read over 100 books, attended mindset seminars, and with all the information that I gathered, I tested it, I refined it, and eventually I created a proven framework that ended up changing the course of my life. On my transformational journey, I lost all the weight that I had gained, I healed my mind, restored my self-worth, and built a business to help other people in the exact same position that I was in to experience the exact same transformation that I experienced. It's also how I've helped Danny to overcome work stress and anxiety, and Jamie, who was able to break through emotional barriers and end self-sabotage in just 30 minutes after reconnecting with his inner self, and Yara, who instantly got rid of her self-doubt after finding inner happiness and peace within herself and finally feeling more connected with the world around her, all by teaching them how to make overwhelm and self-doubt a thing of the past. These people are just like you, and now I want to help you do it too. I'm about to share with you the exact framework that I used to go from overwhelmed, to go from stressed, anxious, restless, really suffering, feeling disconnected with myself, to living my best life, thriving without the need of any medication. The peace, contentment, and happiness that I feel inside of me now isn't coming from any artificial pill. It's coming from the skills that I learned to master my mind. And that's exactly what I'm going to go through with you now. This framework is called the AFA Roadmap, and it consists of 3 powerful phases. And if you follow these steps to a T, you will no doubt see the lights at the end of the tunnel. So listen closely, have a pen and paper to hand, and start taking notes. The first step is to develop self-awareness. You need to start educating yourself on how ADHD impacts the brain and your behavior. Read books, watch videos, and seek out the right content that's going to help you to reframe your struggle, not as a failure, but as challenges that you can now learn to navigate. I personally read over 100 self-help books, attended mindset webinars, watched thousands of hours of ADHD content, and studied a ton of medical research all about ADHD, medication, and neuroscience. Once you've done that part of this phase, you're now ready for the second part of the phase. The next step is for you to learn how to identify and eliminate the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. You need to start writing down your negative thoughts and start challenging them. Do they serve you, or are they just holding you back in life? And when you challenge these limiting beliefs, you need to challenge them with facts, not feelings. And replace these limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs that serve your growth. The next part of this phase is you need to practice radical self-acceptance. You need to begin by recognizing that ADHD is not a flaw, it's just a different way of thinking. And the sooner that you accept yourself fully, the sooner you can start to use your ADHD struggles into your biggest advantage. Take Danny, for instance, who is self-diagnosed with ADHD. She struggled with overwhelming stress and self-doubt that was caused by her high-pressure job. And after working together, she quickly learned how to manage her emotions, rewire her mindset, and take back control of her life. After working together, she now operates with confidence, free from that crippling anxiety within her that once held her back. And she's even built up a toolkit for herself, so anytime any stress, overwhelm or anxiety or emotional worries come back, she's prepared to get rid of it in an instant. Your mindset determines your whole reality. So if you change the way you see yourself, you change your whole reality. Remember that. Now let's move on to the second phase, focus and emotional mastery. Once you've passed the first phase, and now you're in this phase, you're now ready to learn ADHD-friendly strategies to improve your focus, consistency, and most important, productivity. You can start to test out strategies like time blocking, body doubling, and external accountability systems to find what works best for you. This is the part where you start training yourself to recognize those emotional triggers that do not serve you, and you begin to create a plan for handling stress before it begins to overwhelm you. And just an important tip for you, you need to start small in this phase. The steps that you take need to be small, actionable, and very doable. Because if the step's too large, you're going to procrastinate. So when I talk about developing routines and habits, just start with a very basic morning routine, something that gets you ready for the day. It might even be exercise, or maybe you want to plan the next day the night before to make sure that you wake up prepared and ready for the day ahead. And over time, you will soon start to see that you're building momentum. Take Yara, for instance. Yara is clinically diagnosed with ADHD. And one of her biggest struggles before we met was that she always used to chase dopamine highs, and she was on a constant quest to try and feel some sort of happiness within her. But after experiencing these short bursts of excitement and happiness, the void within her came rushing back the second that short burst of happiness faded. And after me and Yara worked together, she instantly stopped the cycle of impulsive behaviour. And before we knew it, she was building good habits that were serving her in her life. And she managed to find genuine peace and happiness within herself. And remember this, mastering your emotions is the key to mastering your life. Now this brings us on to the final phase, the ADHD superpower phase. This is where your ADHD mind shifts from seeing ADHD as a struggle, as a burden, to your superpower, to your greatest advantage. At this point, you've now realized that your creativity, your hyperfocus are now a superpower if you harness it correctly. This is when you start to identify your unique strengths and find ways to structure your life around them. For example, if you're naturally drawn to high energy work, you will begin to seek out opportunities that align with that. In this phase, you will build a life of success, fulfillment, and freedom by aligning your career, hobbies, and daily activities with your ADHD-driven strengths. And the more you lean into what works for you, the more unstoppable you're going to become. Take Neo, for instance. Neo constantly struggled with anxiety because he was so focused on the past or the future, and never the present. And through my program, he learned to master the skill of just being in the present, which is no doubt one of the hardest things that a human being can do in today's world. Just ask yourself this, how often in a day do you sit down and actually be present? Do you appreciate the sound of the wind, the taste of your food, the beautiful things that are right in front of you? In the fast-paced world that we live in, enjoying the moments are extremely slim, and this is the sad truth. If you miss the moments, you will never get it back, because once the moment's gone, it becomes a memory. Never forget that your ADHD is not a weakness. It is your greatest superpower. Only if you learn how to use it correctly. So if you're clinically or self-diagnosed with ADHD, here's the options that you can take. Option 1, you could do nothing. You can stay as you are. Maybe the struggles that you're going through are not terrible. Maybe they're not amazing. Maybe the pain that you're feeling is bearable. So you're not in a desperate need to change. Option 2 is you get clinically assessed if you're not already. And then you get medicated. And you're prescribed medication that you need to take now for the rest of your life. And the good thing about medication is that it does make you feel happy for maybe 2 or 3 hours. But the happiness isn't real. It's an artificial type of happiness that the pill provides, along with a lot of harmful side effects that you need to be prepared to accept. And do your research on this, because some of the side effects can be truly life-threatening. Then you have option 3. Option 3 is the phases that I've just gone through. It's the holistic approach. It's the method that I used. And in option 3, over time, you will see light at the end of the tunnel. You will learn how to thrive without the need of any medication you will learn how to turn your ADHD struggle into your biggest advantage in life, from a curse to a gift, from a burden to your biggest superpower. But the problem that comes with doing it on your own, and I say this from a first-hand experience, is it takes a long time. And on your journey, you are naturally going to make a lot of mistakes that could have been avoided if someone was able to show you a shortcut to the right path. Someone who's been where you are and who knows where you want to be and can take you there with a strategy that works without making all the unnecessary mistakes. And that takes you to option 4. In option 4, you can speak with me directly and I will personally work with you very closely to make sure that you find the shortest path to your end goal. To get rid of that emptiness, that disconnection that you have within yourself in the quickest time frame possible. Because one thing I can guarantee you is that time is your biggest asset. And struggling through life, trying to make it on your own, and waking up every day struggling, feeling pain, emptiness. Who wants to live that kind of life? Definitely not me. And I know that that life isn't for you either, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. So in option 4, me and you will have a very friendly, informal discovery call. And it's a chance to allow me to see if I can help you. It's a chance to understand your unique goals, the struggles that you're feeling, and the exact problems that you want solved. In this process, I'll be asking you very specific questions to allow me to better understand your unique situation. Because everyone's life is very, very unique and different. No personalized plan works for more than one person. So once I get to know you better, I get to know what you want out of life, get to know what you're struggling with. At that point, I'll be able to create a personalized roadmap just for you, to get you from where you are today to where you need to be, in the most efficient and productive way possible. But if you did want to go for it on your own and do option 3, then you've got the 3 phases. You know exactly now what you need to do. But if you did feel like you wanted some help, and you wanted to see what working together could look like, then that's something that we can look into as well. But just for full transparency, I only work with people that are coachable, open-minded, and truly ready for change. As in my program, I work very closely with people to ensure that they get the results that they desire. So click the link below, book a free discovery call so we can get you back on track as soon as possible and live in the life that you know that you truly deserve. Ready to show up as your best self, but not just for you, but for the people around you that love you, care about, that matter to you the most. So book the call and I'll see you on the other side.